aims to repair strained ties after a year of public clashes and political differences.
I mean, he's been very nice over the last month or two. He was certainly critical before that, but somehow after the Venezuelan raid, he became very nice. He changed his attitude very much. So, no, I look forward to seeing him. He's coming in. We're going to be talking about drugs because tremendous amounts of drugs come out of his country. And I look forward to seeing. We're going to have a good meeting. Yeah.
Petro's Washington agenda also includes political, academic, and business events. And the U.S. is working to rebuild diplomatic relations with Venezuela. Laura Does, the United States' new top envoy to Venezuela. She recently arrived in Caracas as President Trump is meeting Colombian President Gustavo Petro at the White House. Joining us to discuss is Santiago Vidal Calvo, policy analyst for the Manhattan Institute. So can I just start off asking you, what is on the line for the U.S.? And can you also talk to us about what is on the line for Petro?
Well, thank you so much for the invitation again, Don. So essentially, this meeting is going to establish a bunch of talking points for both countries. One of the main ones is going to be the security agreement between the U.S. and Colombia, but also the relationship between both countries. As we know now, after the tariffs incident, both Colombia was very impacted by the threats from the United States on the tariffs, but also secondly, a security agreement that is very much in place from decades ago. Decades of partnership between the United States and Colombia, where they have both cooperated on drug trafficking enforcement, but also on procedures to eliminate and reduce the production of cocaine in Colombia and in other areas. One of the issues that could also arise is the Venezuela relationship, how Petro is placed in the region to negotiate a transition in Venezuela, and of course, how do the actions of the United States in Venezuela play a role with Colombia in the coming months?
Okay, so as you're aware, Colombia is still a hotbed of cocaine production, a primary source of this illegal drug. And President Trump has warned Petro before, saying that, he better wise up or he'll be next. But however, there seems to be a shift in tone now, with President Trump saying it was an honor, great honor, in fact, to speak with Petro. What do you think about that?
Well, this might be part of a diplomatic strategy. And let me just explain it to you. Under the Petro presidency in Colombia, we have never seen numbers on cocaine production like we have in Colombia right now. Both production of coca leaves, but also the production of cocaine have increased dramatically during the Petro presidency. And this is because Petro has removed a bunch of high military ranking members on Colombia that are very well positioned to do cocaine intersections or to remove cocaine fields. He has also removed a lot of security parts with the United States that were there to prevent the production of cocaine. So during these procedures that he have eliminated over the last years, we have skyrocketed cocaine production inside of Colombia. What currently is going to happen is in this conversation, this might be a diplomatic strategy to try to appease to Petro's leftist instincts. Remember, Petro was in New York just a couple of months ago calling for the insurrection of the armed forces of the United States against Trump. Okay, these are two people that do not like each other, but this might be very well a meeting like what happened with Madani. Let's keep the diplomatic aspect intact while we try to negotiate a better future for both countries.
Okay, so you're saying this is a strategy perhaps by Trump to be more friendly to Petro. What do you think are some of the plausible outcomes for this meeting?
Well, hopefully both presidents leave the meeting with some concrete goals or achievements. Petro only has a couple more months in power, but he can do a lot for the next president of Colombia. And of course, the United States is going to prefer a pro-American candidate to be in the presidency of Colombia whenever that election happens. So right now, what Petro can do is set up the country well for success in the future. I think that's what the Trump administration is likely going to hammer down in this meeting. Security agreements. Let's continue to ramp up the seizure of cocaine in the territory and to agree to restart a lot of the recultivation programs that were there from years ago before Petro, okay, where they can remove a lot of the cocaine production for other viable agricultural procedures. And this meeting hopefully also leaves with the United States having a stronger trading partner in the region, but also one that is going to back them up with actions whenever they need to intervene in Venezuela, both diplomatically, but also politically now that there is a transition period on board.
Okay, what is the impact of Venezuela's situation right now on Colombia?
Well, right now, as I've mentioned before, Petro was an ally of the Maduro regime. He failed to reject the election that happened on 2024 and failed to stand up against Maduro. He's an open ally. There are open investigations, but also allegations that Maduro financed a lot of the Petro campaign. And we have seen this from many of his whistleblowers inside of the government that have spoken out about this rampant corruption. Right now, what this could happen is that a transition in Venezuela could leave Petro very much on the wires of major investigations with the Maduro regime. And many information could come out of the Maduro regime that supports that Petro was in fact an aide, but also member and ally of the Cartel of the Suns or adjacent organizations. So what we currently need to happen in Venezuela is that for Petro to leave this position of the presidency untouched by the Venezuelan problem, he needs to aid the United States as much as possible in a transition period, put pressure into the Delcy Rodriguez regime, and also aid at a military security that is going to happen both at the border, but also internationally with drug trade.
So given what you said just now, what are the tools actually that the U.S. has at its disposal that is the most influential or has the most sway over Petro?
Well, the best tool that the United States has is that the day that Petro is no longer president, they can prosecute him for any charges on narco-terrorism that they deem or find in his profile. Right now, Petro was sanctioned by the OFAC a couple of months ago. He has open investigations by the United States. This is not a precedent that we're talking about in the same term as a normal precedent in Europe or in other areas of the Western world that is untouched by narco-terrorism. Petro has a lot of ties to narco-terrorism. So right now, what Petro can do is try to clean up his mess before he leaves, because the day that he loses that presidency status, he's going to fail to meet all the standards of international law and protection of amnesty for political leaders. And he could be very well in position for prosecution of the United States, just like Maduro. So what currently needs to happen is Petro needs to cooperate with the United States. He needs to find a way to clean up Colombia before he leaves and try to leave with a better face of what he's currently today.
Okay, Santiago, very professional analysis today. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much for the invitation.
The creator of Notepad++ says his software now has stronger security controls after it was targeted by hackers.